Glance at your phone and there it is. 237 unread messages in the group chat. Your stomach drops a little. While everyone else seems to dive in and fire off replies, you feel tired just looking at the number. You open it anyway, start scrolling, and the conversation has already jumped topics 5 times. Inside jokes you missed. Plans made when you weren't there. Memes stacked on memes. Replies to replies that barely make sense out of order. You type something, delete it, scroll again, and say nothing at all. You mute the chat just for an hour, and suddenly it's 3 days later. You're like, these people don't want to disappear. But keeping up with that stream feels like a part-time job your brain doesn't have energy for. Quietly you think, why does this drain me so much? It's just a chat. What's wrong with me? If group chats feel more like a swarm to survive than a place to relax, what your brain is doing in those moments is something most people like you never get told. And it might completely change how you see this bad texter side of yourself. The problem is, nobody else seems to see it that way. Friends joke, you're never in the chat. You always miss everything. We thought you died, or they just stopped tagging you because you never respond anyway. Maybe you've missed invites, important updates, even big news because you couldn't face the scroll. You tell yourself you'll catch up later, but later never comes, and the unread count just keeps growing. After a while, it stops feeling funny and starts feeling like a flaw. You wonder, am I just a bad friend? Why can everyone else keep up with this and I can't? Is there something wrong with me? That a simple group chat feels like too much? Most people like you stop there and blame their social skills, but that's only because nobody ever explains what your brain and nervous system are actually doing inside a busy group chat. What most people never tell you is that feeling drained by group chats usually doesn't mean you're antisocial or bad at communication. It often means you have a signal over noise brain and an energy protective nervous system. Your mind isn't built for 10 half conversations at once. It's built for a few that actually mean something. Psychology suggests some people are wired to prefer fewer, deeper, slower threads over constant rapid-fire updates. Your brain likes context, coherence, and emotional clarity through things group chats are terrible at providing. So muting, stepping back, or replying rarely isn't you not caring. It's your system saying, this much noise for this little connection isn't worth my energy. Now here's where it gets interesting. Once you understand how group chats overload your mental bandwidth and your nervous system, you can stop calling yourself broken and start deciding how you actually want to engage with them. Inside a group chat, your brain is quietly juggling 3 big things at once. First, there's cognitive load. A group chat isn't one conversation. It's 5 layered on top of each other. Implies 2 things you never saw. Private jokes with no context. Plans forming while you're offline. Your mind has to work harder to reconstruct what's going on. Decide what matters and figure out where you even fit. For a deep processing brain, the constant context switching is exhausting in a way most people don't feel. And there's your nervous system's response to constant pings. Every notification is a tiny check me now demand. Even if you've muted sounds, your eyes catch the badges, your attention gets yanked, and a subtle pressure builds. I'm behind. Should say something. Sensitive, low-energy systems read that as micro-stress. Muting or stepping away isn't laziness. It's your body trying to lower the volume of incoming demands so it can finally downshift. Finally, there's your preference for depth and emotional coherence. You connect best when you can actually feel the tone of a conversation and respond in a way that matches it. Group chats often skim the surface. Joke gives meme, gives serious comment, gives ignored vulnerability, gives back to jokes. That emotional whiplash feels unsatisfying to you, even a little jarring. A one sincere one-to-one exchange will feed you more than 100 scattered messages. Most people just see that you don't talk in the group. They never see the extra thinking, micro-stress, and hunger for real connection happening in the background. The real question now is how to protect that energy without disappearing from the people you genuinely care about. The point isn't to force yourself to love group chats. Stepping back from non-stop noise is a valid way of protecting your energy, especially if you show up more genuinely in smaller, calmer spaces. That's not failure. It's knowing your limits. But there's a line where protection can quietly turn into disappearing, muting every group, never responding at all, or assuming no one will notice if I'm gone, even when they would. On the outside, it can start to look like you don't care. On the inside, it's your nervous system dodging any social demand, big or small. A better path is to let your wiring guide you, not isolate you. That might mean keeping group chats on mute without guilt, checking them on your schedule, and choosing to respond meaningfully to 1 or 2 messages. Instead of everything, this might mean telling your friends, "I'm bad at group chats, but I do care, message me 101 if it's important." That way, you're honoring your depth-oriented, energy-protective brain without cutting yourself off from the connections that actually matter. If this felt like someone finally explained why group chats feel like work instead of rest, you're not alone. And you're not broken for needing less noise. Subscribe and stay close if you want more videos that decode patterns like this without shaming you. And tell me in the comments, are you the always in the chat friend, or the reads everything replies to almost nothing one? Next, we're going even deeper into how people like you can protect your energy without losing real connection.